Hello. Happy to be with you. Anybody else at the end of a long day, kids in bed, and you have a little bit of time for yourself? That's where I'm at. I want to come and talk to you about self-care and how we can get really good at it. So I've gotten a few questions that came in. Some of you were asking things that were great to talk about. How can I get away from feeling guilty about spending time decompressing, taking time out for myself? And also, where do I begin? How do I even start with self-care? And how do I know when it becomes selfish? So we're going to touch on those things, and I want to give you some practicals. Let me start by saying I used to be really, really, really bad at self-care. I pushed myself till I was burnt out. I was so physically depleted that my husband quit his full-time job and started working minimal hours because I could not manage my kids and myself. My health was that at a loss. It was rough. And it's been a journey. And for you, it's the same. It's a journey. This learning how to take care of ourselves should be modeled to us when we're young. Learning self-care should be something we're taught when we're young. But when that doesn't happen, we have to learn it in adulthood. So I want to give you an example and tell you what it used to be like and what it is now. Today I was out mowing my lawn, and the entire lawn maybe takes an hour to an hour and a half. I don't usually get to do it all at one time, so it's hard to say, but it's not a huge lawn. Oftentimes I break it in parts because I'm interrupted by my kids, or I only have a certain amount of time, so I do what I can. But if I'm going for a while, I will feel in my body the need to stop for some water, sometimes to stop to have something to eat. It's just, I'll notice that. I used to push myself to a point where I would say, I can do a little bit more, and then I'll take my break. And I would do that. And I thought that was better than just finishing the whole lawn. By taking a break in the middle, I thought I was doing well, which I was, because it was a gradual shift from pushing myself to finish the entire lawn. But now today I noticed that I needed to take a break. I could actually feel a little bit of a headache coming on if I haven't had enough protein, there's a few reasons for me. Hydration, protein, and extra fatigue will bring on a headache for me. And if I don't catch it early enough, it gets worse and worse and worse, and it can become a migraine. I noticed the headache was there. I also had the thought, just do a little bit more before you take that break. And I said, no, I need to take the break right now. And I turned the mower off, went in, made myself an egg, put it on a piece of toast, had water, sat down, and enjoyed it. Made sure I felt ready before I went back out to continue mowing. And the reason I bring that up is because it's a progression. So at one point, I would have pushed myself to finish the complete lawn. At another point, I was learning, listen to your body, Corrine, take better care of yourself. So I would push myself just a little bit further, then take the break, get what I needed. Now I'm to the point where I notice I need to take the break. I feel the sensation in my body. I get the nudge. And in this case, and it's not across the board, I'm not perfect in this every time. I don't get it. I don't listen always immediately. But this time I did. I stopped that mower right then and took care of myself. That's a really practical way of showing up for ourselves. But there are so many numerous ways that we practice self-care. It oftentimes looks like self-parenting. Getting ourselves to bed early enough, making sure we take a nap at times when we are physically depleted. And if we keep pushing ourselves, we're going to get more agitated. We're going to be irritable. We're not going to treat our children or our partners or ourselves in the way that we deserve. You know it for yourself, right? When you push yourself too far, something feels the effect of it. If you just stop, take a rest, maybe that means lying down and closing your eyes. Maybe it means taking a 30-minute or an hour-long nap. You'll figure it out as you go, but I can tell you that it pays off. So if it wasn't modeled to you, if self-care wasn't modeled, or you saw a version of self-care that was selfish, it may be harder. You may be coming up against some subconscious beliefs that are making it more difficult to practice self-care. The person who worries about being selfish is not the one who needs to do less of self-care. They're the ones who need to practice it more. If you're worried about being selfish, you're not the selfish person. Go look up the definition of selfish. It's someone who is consumed with themselves, who is not thinking about others. You're actually telling me you're thinking about others when you're worried about being selfish. Now, there may be other reasons that you have to look into about why you fear being selfish. But oftentimes the person who doesn't want to be selfish is not selfish enough. And what I mean by that is there is a degree where we need to take care of ourselves in order to be able to have something to give someone else. We need to actually reconceptualize and look at this idea of what we think of as selfish from a different angle. We have to give ourselves what we need in order to be able to help other people. And to the question of where do I even begin? I'm going to always say start small. So if you're not practicing self-care at all, if you just go through your days taking care of everyone else around you that needs you, and by the end of the day, you're so beat, you don't really do anything for yourself, just pick one 30-minute section of your week and plan something that you want to do for yourself. Now, plan it earlier in the week in case something comes up so you can reschedule and make sure within that week's time you give yourself that 30 minutes. That's going to be a really small, practical way to start. If you're already making some sort of time for yourself during the week, then figure out in each day what small amount of time you can plan to practice self-care. I have gotten used to doing this so that I'm doing it every day in various ways. It might look like making sure I go out and move my body if I want to take a walk. That usually makes me feel really good. My body really appreciates that. Sometimes I'll get to the end of the day and I'll feel an agitation in my body if I didn't walk, if I didn't move enough. And it really just helps move that energy through me and discharge it as I go out and move. Or for some of you, you're gonna have a treadmill. You're gonna do something indoors. There's other ways we can make sure that we are taking good care of ourselves. Grabbing the bottle of water before you go in the car. You're going to be driving and you might notice, I'm thirsty. You might need to take a snack with you because there's times when we're so busy, it's not until things settle that we actually realize what we need. So start to pause and ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What does my body need in this moment? And then meet yourself in that place. I remember hearing a friend say, just notice when you need to go to the bathroom and don't hold it. Just go. There are so many ways we can start to take better care of ourselves. We have to start small if we're not doing it at all, and then we grow from that place. There's going to be lots of instances where you have the thought, well, I could do this for myself now. I could put this off to tomorrow. Or I could continue in the pattern that I always have. That's a pivotal moment. When you decide, I'm not going to continue in the same pattern. I'm going to fight that resistance, and I'm going to start to change this pattern. Every time you do that, you're benefiting yourself. You're starting to create a new neural pathway within your brain. You're starting to teach your body something new, and you're experiencing something different. You will feel guilty. You will feel, I'm just going to throw the word out there, bad. You're going to feel uncomfortable about this. If the dishes need to be done and you leave them because you realize this is what I should do in this moment, that's not going to be a comfortable thing. If you go out and make time for yourself in an instance where you would normally take care of the needs of others, that's going to feel super uncomfortable. But these are the ways that we change patterns, that we start to show up for ourselves in a way that we've always deserved. That's why I bring up the idea that it's really a part of self-parenting. You're learning to take care of yourself, which is what you've always needed. If you didn't have somebody modeling for you what it looks like to take care of yourself, you have to teach yourself that now. So I hope that as you're sitting with this idea, that you're coming up with one way. Hey, Mariah, I see you joined, and I know it's your birthday, so happy birthday. There is so much to this conversation, right? We could take it and keep talking about it. And if you want to talk about what is specifically going on in your life, then please reach out to me. But I hope that you're pulling one thing from this conversation that you can put into practice. One new way you can start to show up for yourself and begin to practice taking better care of yourself. And in this moment, I just want to remind each one of you, to any heart that is feeling like this sense that I don't deserve this care that I can give to myself or that I can receive from other people. I want you to know that you deserve it most. When we think we don't deserve it, it means that we need it even more. You were born deserving this care. You should have always received this care. We actually should be, we get to come to this place through healing where we don't feel guilty for meeting our own needs. We don't feel guilty for telling somebody else, I can't show up for you right now. Because we actually learn that that's a normal part of living, that we won't be able to show up for everybody else all the time. And that there are many times we need to start by showing up for ourselves. And in showing up for ourselves, we then can start to have the energy and the resource to show up for other people. So if you don't take anything else from this conversation, I hope that you hear tonight, you are deserving of love. You are deserving of care. Begin by offering it to yourself and then allow other people to offer it to you as well. So, thanks for listening in. I hope it's been helpful. If you have specific questions that I didn't touch on, drop them in the comments and I can answer those in a future live. Have a great rest of your day.